Hi, I'm Jennifer, and I'm officially diagnosed with general anxiety disorder and depression. My relationship with my mother is very tumultuous, and my childhood was very hard for me to be in an environment where my mother was such a perfectionist, and she had high expectations of me that I was not able to, that I'm, as a child, I was not able to live up to, and I'm currently not able to live up to her expectations of me. And that has really affected my anxiety in life and has affected my relationships with people and has affected my self-confidence and the way that I interact with my kids. I tend to push other people's expectations of me onto the people that I love. And my childhood was very traditional, where my mom was a stay-at-home mom, and she did all of the traditional stay-at-home mom duties, and then my dad worked full-time. And my dad was a very loving caregiver. I look up to him still for the type of person that I want to be, that I strive to be. And my mom has anxiety and depression as well, and she would have episodes that stayed with me even to this day. And when I have anxiety episodes, when I have explosive rage episodes, I think back to my childhood, and I think about how that affected me as a child and how my mental illness is affecting my children. The first time that I noticed really was in grade school. I remember having a panic attack because I couldn't find a check that my mom had written for my lunch, and the rest of the class was lined up, and I felt the pressure to be lining up. I felt the pressure to be ready to go when I was expected to be ready to go. And I remember seeing black, like I kind of almost blacked out a little bit, but I more remember just my heart rate was accelerated and I was breathing heavier. And I remember just like kind of a wave of panic washing over me. And I was probably around, I think I was in first or second grade. So 7, 8 years old. I realized that my anxiety was an issue after I had my first child, and I had a explosive rage episode where I threw an object at my husband while I was holding my baby. And he told me my husband told me to go fix myself. And that was when I realized that I have a problem that I really do need to get fixed. for the sake of my marriage and for the sake of my child. We now have 2 children, and I had started therapy shortly after that. Previous to that episode, I was feeling what I thought was postpartum anxiety, postpartum depression. And I had thoughts of homicide of my baby. And I didn't want to admit that to myself. I didn't want to admit that to anybody. Because as a mother, your job is to love and cherish your children. And when mental health issues, when mothers are dealing with postpartum anxiety, postpartum depression, and then the hormones they bring all of that to light. They can bring out the worst in you, and you think about the effect that you're having on your family, and you think about the effect that you think about the future of your children and how you want to be present for them and mental health issues, especially anxiety and depression. They put a barrier between you and your relationships, whether it's friendships or whether it's a relationship with your husband or whether it's a relationship with your children. I had gone to a round of therapy. My husband and I did couples counseling for a little bit, and then I did individual therapy, and I went on a medication. The medication is the best course of action for me, and I stopped therapy for a while, just for some different reasons, and I'm now back in therapy again, which is the best way for me to deal and resolve, get coping skills, understand coping skills, instead of allowing myself to be overwhelmed with life and seemingly simple tasks. Therapy allows me to resolve out loud some of my issues that have been living in my head for many years, and the medication also has allowed me to calm down a little bit and not be so not get to that boiling over point. So therapy and medication is the best course of action for myself. I think we all have our own unique story to tell, and it's important to tell those stories, and it's important to understand the similarities of where we all can find connection within our within our mental health situation, whatever that looks like to different people. And therapy has been amazing for me. I think despite my issues, it's important for me to fully remember that I have people that love me and they're going to be there for me no matter what. And my husband, he wants what's best for me, and he and I are working toward being the best selves that we can be, and individually and also together. Mental health is more common than people realize. Everybody deals with something. Everybody deals with some form of stress. Everybody deals with some form of anxiety. Everybody feels gloomy some days. The mental health stigma should not be a stigma. It should be something that we should be openly talking about in schools. It should be something that we're openly talking about at our places of work. We should be asking people genuinely, how are you doing? And how can I support you where you are?